Hi everyone. Very happy to be live with Michael Wood. Do you want to start us off with an intro to you and your books, Michael?
I will do, yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Wood. I'm the writer of the DCI Matilda Dark series set in Sheffield. There are 11 books in the series. Book number 11 is called Below Ground. It's already out in ebook and audio, but it is released in paperback this Thursday.
Lovely. You got some standalones as well, is that right?
Yeah, the first standalone is called The Seventh Victim. That's out in ebook, audio, and paperback. The second one is called Vengeance is Mine. That's only in Audible at the minute. Paperback is out in July next year. The third one is called Chapter 1. That's only in Audible at the minute. And we're way off that coming out in paperback. There's a 2-year delay on the Audibles.
Really?
Yeah. Something to do with the contracts. They did explain it to me. It went over my head.
It's kind of good that there's some exclusive to Audible though for people who are like.
Yeah, audio are they're really popular. They're gaining popularity all the time. So I signed a contract to write just one thriller, and it did really well. So they asked me to write another 3, and the final one is out next year. So they will be, but then they will be in ebook and paperback 2 years after they come out in audio first.
So for anyone like who's watching who's new to you, introduce us to Matilda.
Okay, Matilda first appeared in the first book, For Reasons Unknown, which came out in 2015. When we first meet Matilda, she's at a crisis point in her life. Her husband has recently died from a brain tumour, which really knocked her for 6. And at the time, she was working on a kidnapping case, which she messed up. So she had to take some time off work. So at the beginning of For Reasons Unknown, she's back at work after 9 months off, and she's given a cold case to try and solve a 20-year-old murder. And that's in essence, that's what the first book's about. And as the series goes on, we see Matilda getting back to how she was before, gaining in confidence and returning more to what her old self was. There's also 3 prequel short stories to the series, which I've written. They're only in ebooks at the moment. But they're basically, her husband's still alive, and we see a much lighter, happier, jokey, friendly Matilda, which I really enjoy writing them. I think they're great fun. It's nice to put a bit of humour into the stories.
Although there is little bits of humour. I'm reading book 6 at them. I think it's book 6, Fallen Children, at the moment.
Yes. Yep, 6.
There you go. Got the number right.
Even I did that one.
Yeah, it was. But there is humour in it. Like we're not going to give any spoilers because we don't in the chats anyway. And I'm over halfway through, but it's like there is humour. There's humour in like the side characters. And, like
there has to be humour in these stories, I feel. And when I speak to my, I know a detective friend of mine. I've known him for years. And whenever I talk to him and I ask him for advice and whatever, he always tells me we do have a laugh. You know, even though we're dealing with murders, we're dealing with rapists and everything, that you need to have a bit of humour in your day. Even if you just sat having a cup of tea, you have a laugh and a joke. You've got to have that. Otherwise, you'd go mad if you didn't with some of the horror that you see. So I try to put as much humour as I can, without it turning into a comedy. There's a time and a place. You've got to pick your moments for the comedy. And it's usually just like a little, like with your colleagues at work, somebody says something and you just have a bit of a dig and it's a light-hearted moment.
Yeah. So we've got a few hellos. We've got one from Sarah Blackburn, Leslie Reed, Donna has said hello, Donna Morfitt, Melissa has said hello, Mills has said hello, and she says, gosh, it's an honour that you're here.
Wow.
And Melissa Wares has said hi as well.
Hello, everybody.
Leslie's read her first Matilda book, but she started with book 10.
10? Oh, no.
Do you think she should have started at the beginning? Do you have to start and read in order, or
I do try to put in each book little catch-ups from previous novels, but there's I mean, we all know what happens in Time Is Running Out. Oh no, you won't. You've not got to that yet. But in Time Is Running Out, we do say goodbye to a couple of the characters. They do unfortunately meet a sticky end. So there are a few characters do get killed off. And I think to get the impact on what the deaths mean to Matilda and the other main characters and the readers as well, it would help to read them in order, but you really don't have to. I do try to make it so you can read them as standalones as much as possible.
Leslie said there's bits of humour between the same. She likes the relationship between them.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I mean, there are some characters that when I put them into a chapter, they do seem to write themselves. Adele is a character that as soon as I put her into the room with Matilda or Sean or Scott, her voice just seems to come straight to me, and I'm just hammering away. I don't know why I find her voice more than the others, but I'm happy with that. It makes writing it a bit easier. It's not easy, but it makes it easier.
And Sarah says she loves the little snack drawer they have in the office.
Yeah. I used to work with someone else's snack drawer, so I stole that, and I have my own snack drawer at home. Everybody should have a snack drawer. We all need a sugar rush throughout the day.
I agree. I have a snack drawer in my classroom that is a badly kept. Well, it's a secret for the people that I know and like.
Yeah. Oh.
If you know what I mean. And the kids are sworn to secrecy as well. I'm like, don't give away the location.
Oh. And have they kept the secret, or do they?
They have, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they have. Because they know they get the goodies.
I was going to say that they will know then they're going to get something. Yeah, I can understand that.
It's how you get through the day, isn't it?
It really is.
I'm trying to keep up with all the comments.
Oh.
Donna says she started halfway through the series as well. Mills says your books give her heart palpitations. She's told you this on Twitter, and you need to write more.
Yes, many times. Yes, she has. Somebody messaged me after reading Time Is Running Out, said I gave them nightmares, which I didn't know whether to be pleased about, or I did apologise, but then I thought, well, actually, that's kind of my job, I'm writing thrillers. The thrill word is it's in the word. So I did apologise, but I was secretly pleased about giving somebody nightmares.
Melissa's got a snack drawer.
Well, we should have one. We should all have a snack drawer.
Everybody's you're making it. Everybody's going to have one now. And Donna wants to know if you've invented a time machine that is going to give us, or a machine that's going to give us the time to read all the books.
Well, yeah, I think personally, you should not read anybody else's books and just read mine when they come out. But every writer's going to say that, though, aren't they? You see, I do work on 2 a year to try and get 2 a year out, but with the Audible standalones as well, it's sometimes there's more than that. And if you only read in paperback or ebook, next year I've got 4 out. So it's because I've got the new series, so that's launching next year. So I'm see, I've got my own office now. I never had an office before. When I lived in Sheffield, I've moved house this year, and I was right in the corner of the living room. But now I've got an actual room that I've turned into an office, as you can see behind me. I'm here all the time, so there's loads more coming from me.
Which is good news.
It's good. Yeah, it is good. Yeah, I want these shelves filling. So yeah.
How do you work with that schedule of 2 a year? Because some authors struggle, don't they, to get that kind of pace of
writing.
Yeah.
And I know there are some authors that will say, I'll only write, say, 2,000 words a day, and then they're finished. I try not to give myself a word count for the day, and I don't. I have got a timetable. I know when books need to be handed into my editor, so I try to give myself a good time to write them. And I do write more than one book at a time. Like at the minute, I'm currently getting to the end of Matilda 12. So I'm rereading that in the mornings. And then after lunch, I'm writing the first draft of the second Olivia Winter novel. So projects do overlap. And it helps because you can get bogged down working on one novel. So it does help to have a bit of writing. It works for me. Every writer is different. It works for me.
Do you find it hard then when you go and do events like this to talk about the book that's just come out because you've got other ones like in your head?
And sometimes it depends. I mean, if somebody's new to the series and they're reading from the beginning and they ask me a question about something that's happened in the earlier books, and I'm writing book 12, and I think, oh my goodness, I really can't remember what happened in that book because just so much time has passed. It's not easy to remember, and I just have to smile and be polite. But I think I've got a handle on all of them. I know my characters. I can answer character questions. Plot, I'm not so good with. I do tend to forget a bit.
Do you name characters after people that you know? Because there's a family liaison officer in the book I'm reading that I'm pretty sure I recognise.
Really?
Yeah, Ellen Davenport.
Oh yes. I've named. I do. I struggle when I come to choose characters' names. I don't know why. I'll be sitting there and I'll think, right, I need a name. I need a bloke's name. Michael. I can't use Michael. That's my name. Think of another one. Martin. Why am I sticking with the letter N? So I don't know. I do struggle to think of characters' names. So yeah, Ellen. I don't know if she still does. She used to be a blogger. We got on really well. We used to chat over Twitter, and we met a couple of times. We met at Waterstones in Sheffield, where I used to live, and yeah, she was a big supporter of the Matilda book. So I named a character after her, which I was really thrilled about. Yeah, there's a couple of my friends that are in there that I've killed off as well.
How do they feel about being killed off?
They love it. I have some really weird friends. If I tell them, when sometimes they'll say, "Well, you name a character after me," and I do say, "I may have to kill you off," and they'll say, "Well, the more gruesome, the better." So I know some strange people.
I mean, I think it's at least they're only doing it in fiction.
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. They don't mind if they're going to be the killer or the victim. They don't mind.
Sarah's happy that Olivia is back. So tell us a little bit about Olivia.
Olivia, well, she is okay. Right. Well, I don't have a cover yet. I've not seen one, but this is a proof copy of the first novel of the new series. It's called The Mind of a Murderer. It comes out in March. Olivia is a forensic psychologist. She's based in London, but book 2 will be set in Newcastle. So it's much easier for me to research up here. Yeah, she's a lot darker than Matilda. She has a lot more baggage and personal problems going on with Matilda. It is a much darker book. I mean, I know people say that the Matilda series is dark, but yeah, Mind for Murder is incredibly. We go to some really dark places with this one, and I'm currently writing the second one. Only just recently started, so I'm not sure where that's going yet.
So it's exciting news. I've got it to read. I thought I'd be better reading Matilda for this chat.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no. The Olivia books, they're going to centre more on the psychology of a killer and serial killers in particular. I'm fascinated by that subject, so I decided to put it to use.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Melissa has said that she recently finished Below Ground and loved it. And she admires how you're not afraid to throw key characters into horrible situations and deal with the aftermath so well. No spoilers.
Yeah, well, I do like to put my characters in peril. And I think with the job that they do and the killers that they're chasing, it would be you couldn't just have them sitting behind a desk. And I know I've read a few. I'm a massive crime fiction fan myself. That's practically all I read. 98% of the books I read are crime fiction. And many a time I've read a book and I thought, oh, I know where this is going. This character's not going to survive. And at the end, it's just all been tied up with a nice little bow on it, and they sat in the pub having a pint. On to the next one, and I'm a bit disappointed by that. So yeah, I mean, I know that I'm writing fiction. I know that I'm writing entertainment, but I do want characters to suffer the consequences of what I'm writing.
I think it humanizes the characters and makes you tie with them better. Interviewed someone yesterday, and I was talking about this, that it's kind of good that it acknowledges it's not just in this, like, the almost cartoony thing of like, this one's ended and then now it's the next thing.
Yeah.
They are kind of dealing with issues that have been caused by the things that they've experienced.
Exactly. Yeah. And I know quite a few people have said, I'm a bit scared of reading the next Matilda books. I'm worried if you're going to kill off my favorite character, but they don't. It's not always, the consequence isn't always a character dying. It could be. I mean, like we saw with in Survivor's Guilt. I won't give it away. We have a new character, and she suffers an accident, an incident in book 8, and it's the aftermath of how she deals with it. And she's still in the series, but her life has just been dramatically changed by what happened to her in that book.
Which is, and that's an interesting thing too. You've been called a master writer of suspense and terror.
Ooh, I like that. Oh, Sarah, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Sarah. Yes, thank you. Yeah, keep them coming.
Sarah is an absolute legend.
She is. I met her at Harrogate. Yeah, she's lovely.
Yeah. We chatted at Harrogate as well, like Sarah and me. But she is great. I've met her at a few book events. So,
yeah, it's good to have her on side.
Well, the more readers you can get on side, the better.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have like a contingent of fans now who eagerly await like every book?
Yes, I do have. I mean, when Below Ground came out on the 30th of September, there were a few people that had read it in a day, and then they were messaging me and saying, "Oh, when's the next one out?" I'm like, "I'm thrilled that you loved it, and I'm fantastic that you were able to read it in a day, but you need to give me a chance to write these things." It is nice to have the regular readers coming back and saying, "Oh, I love this one, and this one's just great, and I love what you've done with this one." So it is lovely to hear it. It's why I do this. It really is. Writing's quite a lonely job. I spend a lot of my time on my own in my office. So to get people just saying the nice message, Michael is the master of writing and suspense, it puts a smile on your face, and it makes your work a bit harder.
Or this one, Mills has said that she goes absolutely giddy over your books, embarrassingly so.
Oh, see, I do that with some of my favourite writers. Don't worry, we all do it. We've all got writers that we do. There's several writers who I don't even read what their new book's about. I just say, oh, Simon Koenig has a new book out, I'm buying it. It's we all do that. So it's nice that people are doing that with my books.
I call those just shut up and take my money authors.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, basically. Yeah. It's, you don't even look to what it's about, do you? Just see their name on a book, you buy it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I've got quite a lot of authors I do that to, which is why I have no money.
Yeah, I've loads of authors. Yeah. Oh, I could name probably about 20 without drawing breath. There's that many. And they'll probably all be crying.
Donna has asked, before we get on to Donna's question, actually, so we met at Harrogate. Donna's a bit sad that she didn't get to meet you at Harrogate. Do you have any kind of book appearances? I'm trying to think of the right word for this. It's been a long day, sorry. Appearances and things at bookstores coming because of the Below Ground?
I haven't. I never do any, and I feel like I should do. I'm hoping next year I'm gonna get some appearances going. I really want to get some for the new series. I think we're going to do something, maybe either a launch or maybe to go on a bit of a mini tour to try and get this new series out. yeah, I'd really like to do more next year. So hope so, and I will post about it on my social media pages if and when. I'm going to be meeting with my editor soon, so we will be talking about. I will mention launches and events, but nothing for Below Ground, I'm afraid. Just me pushing on social media as usual.
Fair enough. Donna wants to know if you've ever, and we're just going to scroll up to read it properly. Sorry. Have you ever given one of your series characters a quirk or personality trait that you've regretted as the series progresses?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I did regret killing off I won't, obviously no spoilers, but the person who turns out to be the killer in book 1. I did regret killing that character off because I sort of wanted Matilda to have somebody to go and visit in prison because she did like this killer, and she was very shocked by when it turned out to be him. So I was going to have a go and visit him and have a bit of a killer Matilda conversation going on throughout the series, but then I realised it would have probably slowed the story down, whichever case she's investigating, her just having to pop away to go and visit him. But as a personality trait, I don't think so. No, I've got I've written like a character guide for all my characters. I know who their parents' names are, what their birthdays are, things that don't appear in books. So I pretty much know who they are before I even start writing them. So I'm sort of happy with how the characters have turned out.
Have you ever had one surprise you? You know, one that you've written kind of as a side character who's kind of taken over and sort of appeared more than you ever planned for them to?
Well, Christian didn't appear in the first book, and when he came in the second book, he was just going to be in charge of CID. But I really liked him, and he came as he's a bit of a moral compass for Matilda, and you know he's the sensible one, and I just liked having him there. So he's become one of the main characters now, and Matilda listens to his advice, and she will always listen to him. And yeah, but he wasn't set to be a main character. But so yeah, he surprised me, and in a good way, because I really like him. He's a good bloke. He's a reasoned bloke.
And what do you think makes for? So you've been called a master of suspense and terror. What makes for good suspense and terror in a book?
Cliffhangers. Yeah, well, expect the unexpected is basically that's one of my rules for writing. Don't be afraid to kill off a character. Don't be afraid to have a character be harmed in any way, and yeah, I think it's just a case of don't hold back, and if you if you start holding back on something, that'll happen more and more, and before you know it, you're stopping to not writing a whole book because you're a bit afraid of it. So yeah, I think you just really need to go for it, and if a story's heading in a particular way, then go for it. I did with Time Is Running Out. So yeah, we lost a few characters in that one. I killed off my favourite character, which I was gutted about, but I could have changed it in the editing and killed a different character. But I thought, no, I've done it. So yeah, you need to kill your darlings, as the old saying goes.
Do you because you're not afraid of sort of touching on quite dark topics? Is there like sort of lines that you have that you won't cross, like things that you wouldn't write about, or is everything on the table but just how you'd handle it would be?
It depends on how you handle things. Yeah, cause I've dealt with child abuse and historic sex abuse as well. So if you research it properly and talk to the right people, you can handle any subject matter, no matter how dark it is. The book that I was planning to write for Matilda 12 was about human trafficking, and I just couldn't. I didn't think I was doing the subject justice at all. I actually think I over researched it. I think I did it too much, so I scrapped that idea. But if I come up with a story, and I think I can tell it with the right research, I will tell it. There's no subject that I won't tackle if I feel I can do it properly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, if I can do it justice, I'll do my very best.
So Mills has said you're a master of the cliffhanger.
I like that one.
Do you find that puts some readers off though? We've got an admin who will not read books if there's cliffhangers.
But how do you know unless you read it?
I wonder if they see a review where it says this one.
Oh,
no. They're like, we're very anti cliffhangers.
Really? Oh no, that's a shame. No, I think that's a shame. That I love a cliffhanger, and I've not had anybody tell me, that they dislike it. It keeps you wanting more. I mean, look at when people watch soaps, when they always end on a cliffhanger. They end on a line where to make you tune into the next episode. And because I'm writing a series and I know that there's more books coming out because I'm contracted to write more books, I want you to have a reason to buy that book. So if I end it on a cliffhanger, fingers crossed, you'll all be, I need to read that next one. See, I love a cliffhanger, and I love trying to come up with them as well.
No, I think I'm not anti a cliffhanger in a book, especially if I've got the second one like that ready to go.
Yeah. If
I have to wait a year or more for it, and I might be a bit.
Yeah, if I know there's not going to be any more, I wouldn't leave the final Matilda book. I wouldn't leave that on a cliffhanger. That would be mean. But because I know that there is going to be a 12 and a 13, then I mean, I know the last few have ended on a cliffhanger, but they haven't all ended on a cliffhanger. So it depends on the story and where I'm going. So not always.
Fair enough.
Mm.
I'm just catching up with all the questions. So Mills has said she likes a good cliffhanger. It makes her stamp her feet and wait in desperation for your next one.
Excellent. I mean, as well. I mean, I don't leave cliffhangers for the standalones, but I do end them in a way so you think that the lives of the characters are going to carry on after the final page. You know that more will happen to these characters. So, yeah, it's nice to leave things open so it's not, you don't close the book and right, that's it, on to the next one. It's nice for you to close the book and just think a little bit about where these characters are going, even though it's not going to be written about.
Sarah's suggesting Whitley Bay Tales as a book event for you for next year. It's Vic Watson who organises it.
All right. Oh, that's not far. Whitley Bay, I can do that.
Yeah, might be worth dropping him a line.
Who did you say that was?
I think it's Vic Watson who organises it.
All right.
I'll try and remember who else does. If I can remember everyone who does it, I'll send you a message.
Thank you.
Selena Armitage has asked if she can begin with reading your books from the start of a new series, or does she need to start from book one of the other series, if that makes sense. We did touch on this at the beginning, didn't we? So the Matilda series needs to be read in order, ideally, to get the emotional impact.
Yeah, you can read them as standalones. It would help to get the characters that come and go and the impact of the loss of them. You can read them as standalones because each crime is separate. As the new series, Mind of a Murderer, they probably might need to be in order as well. I'm not even at 10,000 words of the second one yet, so I don't know where that's going. But when you read it, you'll see where I'm going with it.
There you go. It's Watson and Simon Berwick who do it.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Drop them a message. Thank you for that.
So it looks like a really good event. I didn't get to it last year, but it looked.
Yeah, beginning of March. Yeah, I'll drop them a message, see if there's room for me.
Yeah, it's good to know, isn't it? Good to know where these book events are.
Well, yeah, I didn't know there was one of. Actually, no, I do think I've heard of Bay Tales. I didn't realise it was a Whitley Bay, and it makes sense, but.
Yeah, there's a good vibrant kind of crime fiction thing up there, isn't there? Because there's
Mm.
Newcastle Noir as well.
Yes, that is in December this year. I've been approached by Jackie, and I will be appearing on a panel at Newcastle Noir this year. So that's fun. That's going to be fun.
It is. She does a good job of organising them.
She-
We organised our own book last year in Leeds in June. We've got one in June next year in Leeds. It's at the Carriage Works.
Right.
But it's so much harder when you have to organise it yourself.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like panel things and things, and
a lot of people to ask, and yeah, events and the actual place where you're going to hold it. Yes, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah. I had to write a risk assessment for it and things as well, which was fun.
Yeah, things that you don't know.
Oh, I know how. I'm a teacher. I know how to write a risk assessment.
Oh well, fair enough.
I got volunteered for it.
Everything's a risk assessment in the school, isn't it?
Everything is, yeah. It's all careful weighing of risk. But yeah, Donna's saying that she does 2 in a year. But you got another compliment here from Lisa Staples this time. She says if your books stay with you long after you've read them.
Oh, that's good. Oh, thank you for that. That is that. Yeah, well, that's what you want. I'm pleased about that. They take a long time to write. Then they're not easy to write, and like I said, writing can be quite a lonely process. So when you get people saying that they think about them afterwards and they think about the characters, it is lovely to hear that.
Well, you made Mills unhappy because she said a final Matilda book. Do you have a final Matilda book in mind? You have like a number that you're going to get to?
No.
Let's just make Mills terrified now because you're going to go, it's book 13.
No, well, I'm contracted up to book 15. So there's going to be 15 of them. Whether there'll be more after that, it depends on my publisher. I will write them as long as they want me to, because I do enjoy writing them. They may not. It's the Matilda series, so we know Matilda's always going to be there. We don't know whether the other cast characters are going to be there with her. But yeah, I love writing Matilda, so I will continue writing them as long as they want me to. But there's definitely going to be up to 15. So 11's out now, so you've got 12, 13, 14. You've got another 4 more to come.
Good. You've been asked why you've chosen to write your books from the female perspective.
Oh, why? Well, the Matilda series, when I first started Matilda didn't exist. All the other characters existed, Sean, Valerie, Adele, but the main character was a bloke. And I was writing for reasons unknown, and it wasn't gelling. There was something that wasn't quite there. And a friend sent me, because I wasn't published then, and a friend sent me an advert for a competition for unpublished writers to send their first novel to get it read. And one of the judges was Ruth Rendell. And the main stipulation was your main character had to be female. And that made me think, wow, maybe that's what's missing from my book. Maybe my main character needs to be female. So I created Matilda Dark. And I really liked Matilda's character, and then I fitted her into the book, and it just seemed to really work with Matilda. So then I did think, well, should I change the sex of her boss and the pathologist to a man, so it wasn't all females? So I really debated that for a while, but I decided to keep them as female. And by the time I'd rewritten the book, I'd actually missed the deadline to the competition, so I didn't send it off. But it ended up getting published. So it was that competition that made me come up with a female character. As for, and Olivia's a female as well. I don't know why. I do prefer writing female characters. They seem to be... If I gave these problems to a male character that Matilda's gone through, I don't think I'd have been able to write them to do them justice. And I don't know why. I think women have a much stronger approach to some of these problems and can tackle them in a more round way than men would. I think it probably helps that I grew up. My mum and my mum brought me up on her own, and my auntie helped as well. One of my aunties. So I had these two incredibly strong women in my life, and they're Yorkshire women, so they're going to be strong women. So I think that's probably helped a lot. Me try to understand female characters. I'm blaming them anyway.
Well, it's a sound plan. Can't beat a feisty northern lady, can you?
Exactly. Yeah. My family's full of them.
In fact, Mills said they better contract you for more after 15 because the feisty northern redhead that is Mills will scream and nobody wants that.
Well, we're a long way away from talking about the next contract. When I'm contracted up to 2027, so yeah, there's a long time yet. But I will fight for more. Hope so.
Good. Donna wants to know what you find the most difficult to write. Rounded characters, story arcs, or twists?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
It's a very good question. So that's.
Donna, I'm going to start stealing some of these questions. There's some good ones coming up.
There is, yeah. Story arcs can be difficult, especially when you think of something when you're 3/4 of the way into a story, and you think, oh, I've got to go back and put this in if I want to go down this route. So that's more irritating. Twists aren't as difficult as what you think, because usually you've planned your story out. Well, I know I do. I plan my story out before I start writing, so I know who my killer's going to be. So then I work backwards. So if I know person Y is the killer, I can work backwards and put the twist in that I hope you won't see. So yeah, you have to. There is a lot of backwards working to make it fit. That's why you have 3rd, 4th, and 5 drafts before you send it off. Rounded characters. No, yeah, because I do a lot of planning before I sit down. I can't sit down to a blank computer screen. I have to have loads of notes. So I know what my story is going to be. I know where the twist is going to be. I know which character is involved. So it's just coming up with the idea in the first place that's the hard part.
Fair enough. Do you keep like a kind of notebook for years as you come up with it? Or like you see something in the news, go that makes the start of a good story?
Yes, I've got a folder that I keep I print a lot of stories off on the news when I see them. I've got a couple of friends who read magazines, and they have a true life section or something. If they think, oh, this might do good, so they'll cut it out and send it to me. Yeah, I've got a folder full of newspaper clippings and magazine articles that come in handy, which is where I got the idea for Silent Victim from. Was from a clipping from a magazine about a true crime in America in, I think it was the early 80s. And that came from a magazine. So, yeah.
Cool. Sarah wants, I'm going to ask you a question that's one of our favourites in a bit, but Sarah wants to know who decides your book titles.
Oh, well, it's not me. I haven't had my title used since the 4th book, The Hangman's Hold. Every title has been changed since. Even next Olivia book, that's not my title. Mind of the Murder, that's not mine either. Yeah, my editor, apparently they have meetings about titles. They all read the book and they all try and come up with the best title. So yeah, from book 4 onwards, not mine.
Oh, okay. So my my kind of other half, other chat family, her favourite question is if they make an adaptation of your book. Right, so Netflix are banging on the door and wanting to make an adaptation. Who are you going to play?
Who will play Matilda?
No, who are you going to play?
Who am I going to play in my book?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, blimey.
No, we're not asking you the standard question. We flip it over here in the UK Crime Book Club.
Well, I'm too young to play Scott and too young to play. Yeah, they're all young, aren't they? I'd have to play Christian because he's getting on a bit, so I'd have to be Christian. But
Are you the sensible one?
Sorry?
Could you be the sensible one?
No, I couldn't. No. Can I play Sean Snack Drawer? Age-wise, I'm closer to Christian than any of the other blokes in the books. I'd have to play him, but do you know, I'm going to have to create a character for me to play, aren't I, now? In the next book.
See, there you go. Your notes for when they come.
Yeah, there'll be a character whose name rhymes with Michael, and you'll know that'll be me.
Have you had interest in adapting them? Because I feel like Northern sort of crime is growing in popularity.
It is, yes. About a year or so ago, my agent contacted me and said a film scout wanted to know if the rights were available, and I heard nothing after that. So that is as close as I've got. No, there's nothing in the pipeline, I'm afraid. I would love there to be, but no. I've got the cast in my head who I want to play them, but no.
Which is why you were hoping that was the question.
I was hoping that was going to be the question. Yes. No.
You can tell us the answers for that as well if you want.
Yeah. No. We'll save that one because it might not happen. That if can you imagine if I really want one particular actor to play this character and it's somebody else, it'd look a bit bad, wouldn't it?
Fair enough. Keep it. Yeah, that's a good way of getting out of that.
Because then if they do cast somebody else, and I'd say, well, yeah, I wanted them right from the start. They're spot on.
You've been asked if you've got a story idea you've been dying to write but not managed to fit in anywhere yet.
That is quite funny that you should ask that question. It's only for a short story, but I've had an idea for a while for a short story, and I was asked yesterday if I would submit a short story for a charity anthology, which I said yes to because I can finally write this story. So yeah, I do have ideas for the books, and I've had an idea for. It's for standalone though. For some reason, the last couple of ideas I've had, they wouldn't fit in with the Matilda world. I don't know why. So I've made a note of them to write as potential standalones in the future.
Cool. Sarah wants to know if you've ever acted out a scene.
I act out all my scenes when I'm doing
in public. Though,
oh God, not in public. No, in my office. No. When I've literally finished it, when it's been through all the edits, I read it one final time, and I read it out loud so that I know that especially the dialogue sounds natural. So I will have the conversations that the characters are having with each other. So I make sure the windows are closed for that, because if I'm screaming at the top of my voice, oh my God, you're going to kill me, I don't want the neighbours calling the police thinking I'm in danger. But yeah, I do act them out because that's how you know how realistic they're going to come across. I'm certainly not Oscar-worthy material, but I do act them out.
Fair enough. It's a good question that we do like to ask in the group, because we've had some really great answers.
I can imagine, yeah. I just picture all these crime writers locked away in their office screaming bloody murder,
They do, but some of them do stuff like hold knives to their throats to see what it's like, or pretend to be tied up, or I think someone put someone in the boot of a car.
I can understand doing that for whether they'd fit. But I mean, if you're going to put a knife to your throat, you're doing it. So it's not that element of surprise is gone. When I was writing the Hangman's Hole book 4, I bought a length of rope to try and tie a hangman's noose, and I still got the noose. So I do, I do some method writing.
Method writing. You've also been asked, I think this is Alison Valentine, it is, what character would you like to go out for a drink with?
Ooh.
And why?
Adele. Because she just seems the most fun. She loves her wine, and yeah, I can see her getting drunk and not getting maudlin, which I think Matilda would. Scott doesn't drink because he's into his fitness. Sean, yeah. No, she'd start talking about her kids. So yeah, I think it'd be Adele. Yeah, she seems more fun for a night out. Yeah, go for a curry and a few drinks with Adele.
There you go. Excellent answer. This is my favourite question of the year at the moment, is What have you read recently? What have you read this year that you've really enjoyed?
Oh no. There's a book I've just read recently. No, there's a book I've read recently, not long back, and I thought this. It was probably one of my favourite books. Oh, what's it called? In Memorandum. Alice Green. In Memoriam. Yeah, that was a absolutely cracking book. I loved it. Do you know, I've read all the books. Well, I've not read all of them. I think I've got about 3 or 4 left. Jacqueline Winspear, I've been reading her series set during the Second World War. That's a crime series. I've been enjoying that. I'm currently reading, can you see that? The Darkest Evening by Anne Cleeves. I think that's the 11th Vera novel that I was currently reading. So, yeah, what else?
You can't beat an Anne Cleeves novel, can you?
You can't what, sorry?
I said you can't beat a good Anne Cleeves novel.
Oh, yeah, I do like Anne Cleeves. Yeah, I think she's wonderful. I was gutted when the Shetland series finished. I really love the Shetland series, but yeah, I do enjoy Vera as well. Yeah.
Donna's, while you're thinking, I'll give you Donna's other question.
Okay.
You can come back to the other books. Donna's asked who the coolest person you've got in your little black box of contacts is that you've used for research.
Ooh. Well, I use Andy Barrett, who is also a crime writer, and he is a crime scene investigator, and he answers my questions. So yeah, he's pretty cool. I like him. It'd probably be a pathologist. He's a very serious bloke. He is very top of his field, but his emails are gruesome and hilarious. So he's my favourite. Can't tell you his name.
But Andy Barrett's also a good one.
Yes, I do like Andy. He's very. He does make me smile.
He's an absolutely brilliant guy, isn't
he? He really is.
Alison's also, what's your favourite item in your bookshelf that isn't your own book?
That isn't my own book? Oh, well, it could be Ghostface, could be Mr. Flibble, but I think it's going to have to be the Dwayne Dibley bobblehead. That's my Dwayne Dibley bobblehead. Limited edition, can't buy them anymore.
Oh, there you go. That's the thing, Phil.
Oh, it could be my Red Rum bookends. They're pretty cool.
They are pretty cool.
Yeah. Red Rum, yeah, love them. They're very heavy.
You did marvelously well because both me and Sam are very good at like tipping our books off the bookshelves.
I was very nervous there.
Mine have been organised because they actually did all leap off. We woke up at about 6 in the morning in school holidays with a crashing sound of all the books falling off the shelves in my room because they were overstacked.
Oh yeah, well that's happened. Yeah, well, all the other bookcases they're quite organised, but because I know these are going to be on show occasionally, these are very, very, very neat and organised.
Excellent. You've also been asked if you've got any special dedications in your books.
I'm actually running out of people to thank. I don't know that many people. I thank everybody who helps me with research, and the people that I'm closest to, and some dogs that are no longer with us. And I'll have my editors and my agents getting thanked in my next one. So yeah, but I am running out of people, so I'm going to have to start getting creative and making people up, I think. Or maybe thank me. I've not thanked myself yet, so there's one.
Yeah, why can't you dedicate your book to yourself?
Exactly. Has anybody done that? I'll have to find out.
There probably is. I like the ones that are like the comedy deck. Have you seen the one that someone wrote a dedication that was like to their wife and kids without them? The book would have been written like 2 years earlier.
Yes, I like that one. I've seen that one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I might have to dedicate one to, some people always have like a favourite teacher who nurtured them or something. Well, I didn't have that, so my teachers were horrible. So I may have to thank my school for not helping me in the slightest.
There you go. See, that what you're discovering here is the majority of teachers are horrible.
Yeah, well, they were at my school. I don't even think any of them knew who I were. I was a middling student. I wasn't in the top set. I wasn't in the bottom set. I didn't need any help. So it was a case of, well, you're fine on your own. Just do your own thing. We don't need to worry about you because we know you'll pass with a C or a B. So we don't need to show you off, but we don't need to help you. So I think a lot of time they're just like, oh yeah, I've seen you about. That was me. So I'll thank them.
There you go. There's a thing to do. I just didn't go to school very often. As well. It's an excellent one. So Alison has also asked, she said, random questions. She's good at the random questions, Alison. Crisp sandwich, and if so, what flavour?
Oh, I love a crisp sandwich, cheese and onion, or prawn cocktail.
I just like the randomest selection of crisps.
Do you put different flavours in one sandwich?
No, not necessarily for a crisp sandwich, just in like lunchbox selection for school. I have like the lunchbox of a small child. So they're always like Space Raiders or something really random.
Oh, I never liked Space Raiders and skips that used to stick to your tongue. I don't like those. But do you know what's nice? If you get an ordinary salad sandwich, put a few ready salted crisps on it. Lovely.
And then you've also been asked, books aside, what would your mastermind subject be? This is a really fun question. We played Mastermind with my form at my school, but because my kids that I teach are just genuine legends, like the Mastermind specialist subjects were so hard to research.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Like a random specific type of bus.
That is random. I don't think I could answer questions on my own books. I'd get them wrong. It would probably have to be Red Dwarf that Dwayne Dibley's from. I've watched that since I was about 8 years old. It's when I'm feeling a bit low, it's my go-to comedy, especially the earlier series. So yeah, I'd have to say Red Dwarf.
What was your initial response? So when you started the Matilda series, because you're like quite far into them now, when you chose to set them in Sheffield, because there's not a lot of kind of fiction.
No, there's not many in Sheffield now. I think if I can remember, I've not got the same editors when I first started, but they just liked the idea that it's set in a northern city. I've not had any response or anything from, say, any leading companies or anything, other than the tourist board in Sheffield or whatever. I've not had anybody asking me to do a murder mystery tour of Sheffield. So there's not been any big response from Sheffield itself. But I have had people message us, particularly on Twitter, saying they either came to university in Sheffield or they were born in Sheffield and they do like knowing the places that the books are set, which I think a lot of writers will probably get that from where they set their own books. And it is nice to hear that it's not just the characters that they're enjoying, it's the city as well.
Well, I think you get a real sense of location with them.
You do.
Like one of the things I ask, I think when they have a real sense of location, the question I quite like to ask authors is, do you have like collection of photos on your website to show the city? So, if people can't get up into Sheffield, it's a great place to visit. But if they can't get there, do you have things where people could go and like browse the locations that you've been to? Or
I don't have I don't have a website for a start. No, I just think it's road names and maybe iconic buildings that people like to to be able to see. I know, like I said, I'm currently reading an Anne Cleeves novel, Vera, set in Newcastle, and now that I live here, I'm reading place names. I'm like, oh, I remember going by there the other week. So it's just nice knowing locations and iconic buildings, I think, that people seem to gel with.
It is, because then it's nice if you go to visit the city that you can look, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, because with Sheffield, I mentioned Meadow Hall, I mentioned Orchard Square, I've mentioned the Arts Tower, which is a great big massive building, and the Winter Gardens get mentioned, and the Crucible Theatre. So yeah, it's all the iconic places. Although I asked if I could use Bramall Lane in one of my stories. I thought I'd asked Sheffield United, and they wouldn't let me, unfortunately. So.
Really?
Yeah, no, they wouldn't let me. Well, I was going to blow part of it up, which I think that is probably why they didn't want me to use it. So I did scrap that story idea. So I can see why they wouldn't want me using it. Oh well.
You kind of think though that like the publicity would still be good.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, I didn't need to ask their permission, but I just thought out of politeness I would. What would it be in a real place rather than something that I was making up? I've sort of tweaked the story. I could have the story with the explosion happening at the railway station. That would still work. So I may still write this story, but I wanted it to be a football stadium. So never mind.
There's more than one football. There's
Sheffield Wednesday.
I was going to say there's two football teams in Sheffield.
Yeah, there's Sheffield Wednesday, but
I don't really do football, sorry.
I'm not a fan myself, but like I said, there is Sheffield Wednesday, but Bramall Lane is closer to the centre of Sheffield, which is where I wanted the action to take place, which is why I chose them, but they wouldn't let me. Never mind.
You've also been asked this as a lesson as well. What do you do when a new idea jumps out at you while you're still writing a book?
Sorry, can you say that again?
What do you do when a new idea jumps out at you while you're still writing a book?
I make a note of it and come to it when I finish this one. When I get a new idea, when an idea pops into my head, I don't write it down straight away. I leave it in my head for a while because you get ideas all the time. So if it sticks in your head, you know it's one worth pursuing. If one day you think, oh, I wonder what would happen if Matilda did this, and then it goes out of your head, you know it's not an idea worth pursuing. But if it stays around, then I'll start writing it down and I'll start researching it because it's obviously got legs. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you kind of let filter for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's loads. You get ideas. Like I say, even reading another book. I think this Anne Cleeves book. I read something. And I thought, oh, maybe I could. And so even you get ideas even from reading other books, but you can't pursue literally every idea. It drive you mad.
Fair enough. We've got 2 minutes left. So do you want to remind people what they're going to go away and buy?
Yes.
Show us some books, what they might pre-order.
Yes. This is out on Thursday in paperback, so that an ebook and audio, Below Ground. Mind of a Murder is out in March. It's already on Amazon to pre-order. No cover yet, even I've not seen it. There's The Seventh Victim is the standalone Audible and ebook, and then there's the other previous 10, and there's another 4 more to come. So just buy the lot, and Christmas is coming, so buy them all for your friends and family, and just keep buying. Even if
you need a box set.
Sorry?
You need to bring out a box set.
I'd love for them to be a box set, yes. When you see a big box of 10, the first 10 books, there should be a box set of 10, the first 10 books, yes, there should. Something else to mention to my editor. I should be making notes here.
We're full of good ideas.
Yes, absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. I've really enjoyed this. It's been fun.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll have to do it again for that one in March.
You are more than welcome. There you go.